here. I want to talk to, and please tell me if I'm wrong in the pronunciation. Please correct me. I see Kina from Washington.
Kina.
Kina?
Kina. It's pronounced Kina.
Kina. Thank you so much, Kina. You're live on Truth Wanted. What's going on?
Well, first, I feel like I need to clarify. After who just called, I'm calling more for a reality check than as a serious, I'm going to prove the scientists wrong and philosophers and things.
Okay, good.
So what I want to call about, what I want to call about is that I think that utilitarianism is an excellent tool for navigating moral situations, but I think as a moral foundation, it's actually pretty shaky.
Yeah, I'd probably agree with you.
Not the problem.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So check it.
Okay.
The way I would. So when I read this while you were waiting in the queue, like I definitely was like, oh yeah, I think I agree. I didn't know your name was pronounced Kina at the time, but yeah, I was like, I think I agree with Kina because utilitarianism can't be the basis, right? Because the basis is your goal, right? And so what I would say there is then that, kind of concept of well-being, right? That's currently the thing that I have in that spot. And normally when I talk about morality, what I often say when comparing different moral systems and the goals of them, I often say, it appears to me in every moral system I've ever come across, well-being is a main component. And I believe that pretty much every other system out there is not as consistent when it comes to the application and flourishing of well-being and so forth. Like achieving that goal is not as easily accomplishable in a consistent manner as it is with some type of complex utilitarianism. It's not just simply right pain and pleasure. It's not just +1 -1. It's a lot more complex. It has a lot of different aspects to it that basically say without these safeguards in place, these kind of overarching bullet points, you can't really get to these higher levels of flourishing. So yeah, I think in large part, Kina, I agree. I agree that utilitarianism isn't as a basis doesn't really make a lot of sense, but as a way to navigate and get to whatever that goal is that people have. Yeah, I'm with you. So.
Yeah. I'm the same way. I'm more inspired by like J.L. Mackie. I'm more of a moral skeptic in general. I definitely don't believe in like an objective morality, but if I were to describe my own morality, which I think is socially constructed and ultimately like a subjective construct that is intersocially and communicatively, I guess, developed between myself and my environment, I would say that I'm a negative consequentialist. I think that matches up more with my personal ethic. Because I for everything that Elliot said, utilitarianism on its own kind of doesn't make sense unless you put human beings with their own wants and desires in front of it, which kind of messes up with the whole system. But anyway, that's
and I agree with what you said there about moral skepticism and like morality being this constructed thing. I just think that makes the most sense, and because of that, again, how do we then navigate that with our goal being flourishing? Anyway, please go ahead, Kina.
Oh yeah, no, I mean a lot of that was what I was going to say. The other thing I was going to say is the main thing I wanted to reality check on, I guess, is that I basically decided on what I want to put at the bottom. Like basically what is validating the utilitarianism as basically agency. And I have would you mind? Because I have a syllogism, and I don't know if it's a well-formed syllogism, and if it's bad, then I want to know, because
you want us to vibe check your syllogism?
We'll do it.
Go ahead.
We'll do it.
Awesome. Okay. So 1, I want what I want. 2, others want what others want. 3, I do not always have full control over my situation. 4, therefore, my wants are most likely to be fulfilled when they can be made compatible with others' wants.
Yeah, I think there's a break there. I think I mean, I'm kind of generally
Oh,
following
look at
along,
Elliot
and I
right
kind
now.
of.
He's like doing the Queen's Gambit. He's looking at the ceiling doing
I'm
those
sorry.
chess
Well,
moves,
because I'm
bro.
trying to
That's
see if
crazy.
I can see the exact place in the, because it's like a math equation. That's what syllogisms are supposed to be, right? And so I'm trying to see the exact spot where it's, because I don't think you've demonstrated that. Say the conclusion again for me. I think I followed all the premises. Say the conclusion one more time for me, Keena.
Therefore, my wants are most likely to be fulfilled when they can be made compatible with others' wants.
Okay, so the issue there is you're bringing in something that you haven't fully established in the premise. You tried to when you talked about the control, right? So what you were talking about was and I want what I want and others want what they want is tautological in and of itself. So maybe there's a bit of an issue there too. But just on actually following the chain, you didn't demonstrate in the premises that by working with others you establish more control for yourself, right? So you did mention, and I think it's correct in the sense that you're saying, oh man, when I have more control over the situation, the likelihood of me achieving my goals is greater. I totally, I'm with you there. Okay, maybe there's some pushback, we could find some paper, but I think we can grant that. The issue is you didn't establish that by working with others you have that control, right? It could very much be the case that by working with others, you ultimately will achieve less control overall, right? So I think that would be one place where I would definitely push back on. Another place again with the I want what I want and others want what they want. I think there's a better way of saying that can get the point that you're trying to get to. But yeah, I think again, overall, I'm kind of following along and I'm kind of digging the argument. But I think there are some actual aspects of it that would need to be tweaked a little bit before it's valid, at least.
Okay. Could you elaborate on what you think is wrong with the first two? Because for me, the fact that they're tautologically true is like part of what it's hinging on. Because if it were debatable, then I don't think it'd be very solid.
Well, so the problem with tautological statements outside of a small handful of them, which we tend to call like axioms or presuppositions, the problem is that the more of those types of things that we have in any particular system, it's just a game. It's just a game of numbers. If I only have 3 tautologies and you have 4 tautologies in how you construct your system, like I win because I don't have to guess as much on this other thing, right?
Wait, hold on. Wait, hold
Go
on.
ahead.
I don't
Go
believe
ahead.
that actually because I'm gonna make up like one tautology, which is
Okay.
I'm right because I'm right.
Oh well,
And now
fuck
I
you,
win.
Dan.
Well, I win though because I only have one. So
Well, no, it
I
has to actually be something that can achieve further progress in the conversation. You
this
know
is
what
the
I'm saying?
problem. This is the problem with moral philosophy. I
Okay,
mean, this
good.
is we're just look. This is why I am a social constructivist about ethics because we're all just talking about what people want, and like that's all ethics is to me. At the end of the day, it's just navigating people's wants, and you can do it in ways that may appear reasonable to one person in one place or time or culture than another, but it's not going to be objective. It's not going to be like math where it's going to be a system that you can perfectly work out. Like, so I just don't even think it's worth trying in most circumstances. But anyway, that's my hot
I have
take.
I have 2 quick thoughts on that, and I'm sorry, Kino. You got Dan and I excited. We're
Right,
gonna
you got us
go a little
heated
back and
now.
forth. No, because I think again the concept of stance independent, ethics and so forth. I'm with Dr. Lance Bush on this. Like, yeah, I don't think that really makes sense. I think all moral claims at the end of the day are basically it's just somebody saying like I like this thing, and so then we kind of go towards that. But like, do you think, Dan? Like theoretically, okay, like the way that we as humans put out a general characteristic list for like oak trees, do you think 750,000 years from now, aliens could do something similar for human beings when it comes to social interaction? And would you consider that quote unquote objective morality. Do you see where I'm going with that,
No,
though?
I
At
don't see
least,
where you're going actually, because
okay,
that is dependent on your psychology, right? We are, again, a product of our genetics and also a product of our environment. We are not all psychosocially the same. We do have people that exist in the world today who are what we would commonly refer to as sociopaths, who
sure,
don't have the same interests as us. And the fact that they're a minority in the population doesn't necessarily mean that they don't reflect something about the human condition, right? So like
agreed.
we human beings, yeah, we have variances, but other sentient, and I would argue sentient, but let's use the term self-sufficient animals on this planet don't have that sense and still navigate themselves in communities and have their own sense of right. I don't see why we can say that we would necessarily be more right or wrong in that circumstance, right?
I don't think I don't think it's a right or wrong thing. I think it's like saying when we observe gibbons,
yeah,
the way that gibbons interact with each other
yeah,
adheres to a handful of criteria that are
yeah,
very broad and generalized, that is
yeah,
different than the way, for instance, oak trees interact with other oak trees.
right.
I think something like that could one day be constructed based on the demonstration of humans interacting with each other that does actually incorporate.
Wait, I don't
This is
understand. You want to base our society on gibbons, Elliot? What are you saying right
That's not
now?
what I'm saying. That's not what I'm saying at all. That's not what I'm saying at all. I'm saying, like, if it were possible that aliens came down today as complete and total outside observers, as humans are when it comes to other animals interacting with each other and their social behaviors, I would think that those outside observers, again, this is all like contingent on aliens coming to us. You don't think that they could construct something that says,
you're assuming a psychological profile of aliens that we don't have information on, right? You're assuming that they have similar needs, similar wants, similar interests, and similar
they would just have to be able to categorize things in a similar manner. I don't see why they wouldn't be able to do that.
Self-motivation there too, right? Even
Well,
the
sure.
idea, I mean, the idea itself that there's an alien species that is scientifically interested in the humans is a psychological profile in itself. You understand what I'm saying? There is a that is just mapping human characteristics onto something completely foreign that we can't even.
Do you think other animals don't categorize the types of existences around them? Do you think other animals don't like notice that a ball and like a basketball and a soccer ball are in a different category than like leaves?
No, dude, I think my cat, when I do a little stringy thing in front of it, I don't think it knows the difference between that and a fucking bird. Like, I think well, I mean, again, it doesn't matter. Even if it has linguistic, because you're thinking of like, this goes into like linguistic categories, right?
I know.
Like, you know, we're going to get into some fucking, some crazy shit. We're going to talk about, Noam Chomsky and stuff. We're gonna go way too deep. We're already off the deep end here. We need to wrap things up.
Come to the Discord. Come to the Discord.
Yeah, we'll
come
talk,
to the Discord.
maybe we can talk more on the Discord. Anyway,
sorry, Keena.
Keena, I think hopefully we gave you at least somewhat of an answer here. Okay, because Ellie and I are going to disagree on this. I think.
Well, I don't know that we're even disagreeing. This is the thing. It's just a really interesting conversation. I'm interested in this. I don't know. You know.
All right. Yeah, I don't know either. But let's explore. I think this is better explored in the after show in the Discord, because I want to give just a chance for other callers to talk to us and not just you and I flapping our gums.
I'm sorry
about some bullshit. No, it's me.
I've already been canceled. I'm never allowed back. So.
I mean, you're here now, so you know you might as well make the most of it. But anyway, hey, Keena, thanks so much for calling. Sorry, we got to cut you off here. I know you probably had more you wanted to say, but maybe if you join us in the Discord, we can talk to you some more.